Hi, my name is Joshua Jaros. It's Tuesday, the 19th, 2019. I'm calling from inside the Montgomery County Jail in Montgomery County, Texas. I've been in jail now just short of 2 months, and I want to do a quick little shout-out to everybody and give everybody an update real quick on where I am with my case, and maybe just talk a little bit about what I've been through. But first of all, I just want to thank everybody that's been praying for me and helping out. And I know a lot of people put some money on so I can make calls out of the jail here, and people put some money on my commissary. And people have been helping out with my appeal as well, and I'm just so thankful. So many people have stepped forward just to help me out, and I've gotten a lot of letters, and I've got some visits here at the jail, and it just means a lot to me. But just to let you know why I'm in jail right now is I was unable to pay my child support that was court ordered, and really when it comes down to it, the judge decided that money was more important than a dad that was involved with his kids. Look, I went through a divorce, I guess it's been almost 5 years ago now, and I spent everything I had, all of my savings. I even borrowed some money from my parents so that I could hire an attorney to get a decent possession order, and I ended up with an expanded possession order. But that possession order included, at that point, a child support order that just did not leave me with any money at the end of the month. In fact, I was short money at the end of every single month, and my parents helped me out with that. And I look back now, and I wonder how this time that I was given, this expanded possession order that I was given, it appears that the court never actually intended me to use that possession time because it removed my financial ability to be able to take the kids during that entire time. But that's exactly what I did. And so I ran and I picked up my kids, and I took full advantage of all the time that the court had given me, and it put me in a financial bind. And because of that, I racked up credit card debt. My vehicle fell into disrepair, and really was just living on a shoestring budget. And if it weren't for my parents, I'd probably be living on the street. And that's where I am. And so here, this judge decided that they were going to jail me for 6 months on a contempt charge. And so I've been in here now, it's almost 2 of those 6 months. We do have an appeal, and I know some people have been working on that. And just huge thank you to all those people that have been working on it. And I know some attorneys have been working on that, and really there's some people that have really given their hearts to help me out while I've been in jail. But, we have a saying at Americans for Parental Equality that child support is for absent parents, not broken relationships. And that's truly how I feel about child support. My kids are dealing with what it's like to have an absent father right now. They would see me every single week, and I would take time with them to love on those kids like no other father. But because of what this judge has done, my children now are living without a father, and that's not what child support. That's not what is best for Texas children. We've had this huge push back in the 60s and the 70s and even into the 80s that children did best when they lived with a mom, and now we've realized that was a horrible mistake, and we realize that our children in this society is paying for that now. We look at all the school shootings that we've had. We look at the teen suicide rate. I was just reading an article November 4th of the Houston Chronicle. The teen suicide rate in Texas is 1 in 8 compared to 1 in 13 nationally. We've got a crisis in Texas. There is no state that seeks to remove fathers from children more than Texas. I did a little survey here, just as a little off topic. I did a little survey when I first got into the jail here, and I spoke with 30 different inmates. And I asked them a little bit, some questions about their growing up and how they ended up in jail. Out of 27 out of 30 of these inmates either grew up without a father or had a father that was not involved in their lives. That to me speaks volumes. Knowing that this jail could be, I would say this jail could be half empty if we would have legislation, that we have laws that provided for protection for children to have involved fathers in their lives. And I think it needs to be a huge priority in Texas. father cannot pay child support, and this applies to so many cases. In fact, I've got another father that's in the same tank as me in this jail who cannot afford to pay his child support. You know, it's called a debtor's prison. When you cannot pay, when you have an inability to pay, the Supreme Court has already ruled on this. And there's a couple cases that come to mind. Hicks versus Fayok, Turner versus Rogers, and even the Texas Supreme Court itself has ruled that fathers or mothers or any non-custodial parent cannot be incarcerated if you have an inability to pay. And so what the state courts are doing is they're going ahead and they're throwing us in jail over this, and then we'll go ahead and appeal. But before the appeal goes through, before these habeases are going through, we are released from prison. So it defeats the whole purpose of us even filing an appeal or a habeas to begin with. And so while I have this all going on, it's most likely that my 6 months of prison time will end before anything actually takes place. And so the question is, why are the state courts doing this? And, you know, we talk a lot about Title 4D, which has to do with the state statutory schemes for child support. Well, if you look at the fifth criteria for states to collect on this is enforcement. And so state judges are placing fathers in jail so that the state can collect money. This has nothing to do with children. This has nothing to do with making sure that children have the needs that they need to thrive and to grow up healthy. This has everything to do with the state collecting money. You know, as I think about it, fathers have a bounty on their head. And the more of us that they can collect and enslave to this child support system, which has nothing to do with protecting children, nothing to do with child's best interest, the more money the state makes. So right now, currently, I'm just waiting on a habeas right now. I know a lot of folks have put some time into that. We're hoping that the State Court of Appeals down in Beaumont, Texas, will take action on that. But again, there's no time limit on that. And so right now, I'm stuck here in jail, and I'm thinking about my boys. It's been difficult at times, but for the most part, most of you know that I'm a pretty upbeat person. I'm really looking forward to seeing my kids again. I hope it'll be before Christmas. I'm hoping that this court will rule on this. You know, child support, like I said before, it's not meant for broken relationships. It's meant for parents that were absent. I was never absent to my children, and the way that Texas is running the child support system down here, instead of helping children, it's removing parents from children, and it's taking involved parents away from their kids, and that's not what needs to happen. So I'm ready to get out of here. I tell you what, I can't wait to get out here. I've been talking to a number of advocates in Texas, and I know everybody's working on legislation coming up. I know a number of you guys have been talking to legislators. I know there's some folks working on the state conventions coming up, the Democratic and Republican conventions. You know, this issue that we're all dealing with, this equal parenting, this child support, these custody orders, it is the number one socioeconomic factor in our country at this point. There is no other topic that is more pressing than this. Our society is literally falling apart. You know, I'll add this on there. Before I got in here, I read a couple surveys. They'd done 2 studies, and they talked about the financial impact to taxpayers, what it was costing our country in terms of dollars and cents to remove fathers from children's lives, to have children growing up without an involved father in their lives. In both of these studies, the estimate came to around $100 billion every year. And here's the real catch. This was only for the social programs. It did not factor in incarceration rates, the cost of the taxpayers to incarcerate people in jail. It didn't count into their teen pregnancies. It didn't count in. It did not take into account the number of children that are abusing drugs because they were left without a father, and right now their life is a mess. And so we really need to keep pushing on this issue. Man, I can't wait to get out. I'm fired up. I think this is going to be a big year, this next legislative session. I'm looking forward to seeing everybody again. And keep me in your thoughts and prayers. And again, thank you for all of you that have been helping me out.
So, Josh, before you get off the phone, is there anything that any advice you can give to fathers who are facing the same type of court hearings and consequences that you're going through right now?
Well, there is. I guess the biggest thing for you to realize is right now there's not a way that's going to. There's not really a perfect silver bullet to taking care of this issue. If you are able to pay your child support, certainly pay your child support. That's first and foremost. We don't have all these. We don't have everything taken care of in the state of Texas right now. And I realize a lot of people say, well, child support's not constitutional and this and that. But none of us need to be in jail over this if you're able to pay your child support. So I would caution everybody, pay your child support if you can. Now, if you're in my situation where you just ran yourself into debt and there's nothing you could do about it, realize that there's constitutional issues involved. And as you go to court, bring those up. And if you seriously cannot pay your child support, bring that up. That is definitely, it's called an affirmative defense in Texas. You are not supposed to be jailed. Now, again, state courts are going to go ahead most likely and put you in jail anyways, and you'll be in my situation, but at least you've made those arguments. Because if you don't make those arguments from the beginning in your case, you will most likely not be able to bring them up in an appeal or a habeas later.
And is there anything that you would like to say to your boys?
Yeah, I do get to talk to my boys a little bit, but if I had something to tell my boys, I would tell them that I love them very much, that I'm looking forward to getting out of here and looking forward to taking some camping trips with them and making some memories and having long hugs with them and snuggling with them and watching movies. I'm just looking forward to spending some time with my kids again. I've had some time to talk with them, and they've been just as broken about not seeing me as I haven't been about not seeing them. So I know there's a mutual feeling between the boys and I that this is not right, in that it's not right that the state has done this to us. But I know my boys know that I love them, and I've encouraged them to stay strong. And so maybe that's another thing when I tell my boys to stay strong. They know I'm fighting for them.
Very good. Well, we'll go ahead and end our conversation there. Thank you for taking the time to call us. We will make sure that this makes it out and the world hears your story. I'm going to end the recording now.